This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of your Elite League champion and Challenge Cup champion, Line Belfast Giants. Today is Tuesday, the 15th of April, 2025. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the Giants statistician, who's moved himself down now, David McGimsey, and the local hockey legend over that side. That is Simon Kitchen. Over the next hour, we'll bring you through all the news and views of the Belfast Giants from the last week and a whole lot more beside. We're live on demand on YouTube, X, Facebook, and you listen to us through all the good, really good podcast providers. If you're watching live on any of the platforms, drop us a comment, get involved in the chat box. We're always watching. You might see your comment on screen and get involved in the conversation. This week, the Belfast Giants are travelling to Nottingham this weekend for the final four of the playoffs, having dispatched the Dundee Stars in a relatively feisty couple of games between Belfast and Dundee. We'll be going over those games. We'll be joined by Ben Lake and Adam Keefe for a chat as the show goes on. Mr. McGimsey, you well?
Not bad, cheers.
Good man. You looking forward to the weekend?
Yeah.
Good. Says, how are you?
Not bad, yeah.
Sick, lads. Let's get a bit talkative. It's a podcast. Come on. All doing well?
Yes. Yes, man.
Short jokes. Says let's just keep it short.
15 minutes.
Lads, I was in London over the weekend with the kids doing a whole load of sightseeing. I'm absolutely knackered. So a short show works well for me because I'll just get to my bed. There's no doubt a bit of a weekend ahead, hopefully for the Belfast Giants. Let's get cracking into that, actually. Belfast Giants took on the Dundee Stars, first versus eighth in the quarterfinal of the Elite League playoffs, and ultimately they were fruitful. It was an 8-3 aggregate score, 5-2 on the Saturday, 3-1 to the Giants on the Sunday. Let's start with that first game, and let's hear the post game.
Yeah, I thought both teams came to play. I thought it was impressive from our group, given what they've been through over the last week. And you know that to get the league trophy done, you know, you breathe that sigh of relief, and then sometimes it's hard to ramp it back up. But our guys had no problem tonight getting right back to it, and you know that was nice to see because we needed it, because Dundee came to play and they were playing, you know, playoff hockey, physical. Referees were letting the game play on like that, so we had to adjust and we had to play our own, I guess, game in the streets. And you know, I thought, obviously, we built a nice lead there, and then, you know, through some penalty trouble, sticking up for each other, and I have no problem with that. You know, the guys, you go after one of us, you go after all of us kind of mentality, and that's how you win in playoff hockey. So I'm real proud of the guys tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those nights, right? We had plenty of chances. Obviously, everything to play for now going into tomorrow night. It was a good physical game. I like that kind of hockey. I think our league's got to bring it back. A lot of WWE going out there tonight, but that's part of the playoffs, right? So, in this format, obviously, you don't want to be down by 3 goals, but you know, we gave ourselves a bit of a hole here. But that second goal was huge for us in the third period there, and then obviously, big kill at the end there. We got another penalty. But it's all to play for there tomorrow. I mean, the first goal is going to be important. We know that. And it's going to be a rocking building in Dundee tomorrow. But plenty of chances by us tonight. They just capitalized on theirs, and we didn't capitalize on ours. But tomorrow's a new day.
The scoreline was 5-2 in that first game to the Belfast Giants. The goals to the Giants come from Jordan Karaguchi, Mike Lee, Ben Lake. Mike Lee with the power play goal is second of the night, and Grant mismatch, a goal that sparked a bit of action in the corner, as did one of the goals to the Dundee Stars, the second one. But Cal Pouncey got the first, and Cole McDonald on the power play got their second. Jackson Whistle on net. As you can, anybody watching see, the two banners, the Challenge Cup and the Elite League banners, went up to start the game, Davy, and you know, it's a great way to see that those lads on the ice who won those banners are able to see those banners being raised.
Yeah, this is I like the banners going up as timely as possible, and it's good that got a supplier, I guess, now that can get these things printed off pretty quickly, Simon. And you know, it's great to have them up.
James Glover, mate. James Glover.
Well, he didn't do them himself. I'm sure he sent them to somebody. He didn't print them out in an A4 printer. But James obviously got them very, very quickly up there, and it's great because I remember years ago, am I right in saying Shane Johnson had left and came back with another team and had to watch as the banner went up, and you want the boys that want, and they're like there is every season. This isn't me announcing anyone's leaving or retiring. Like every season, not every player will be back next year. Very unlikely. It's never happened in 25 years, Giants, so probably not happen again. So for to win it and see the banner going up special, and it's nice that they got to do it, and good crowd in to see it happen. That's, I say it here all the time, but what's hockey for me? It's about hanging banners and making those memories. And you only look, I think it was Thomas Brownlee put up the other day, the Keefe era, he's sort of enclosed in a little bracket, what Adam and I suppose Steve Thornton, etc., have been involved in. And you go, don't forget, Adam had another 2 as a player as well. I was updating stats earlier on, and it's just incredible when you look at the coaches section that I was updating, just the trophies that he's been involved in. And it was brilliant. I love that, seeing the banners going up in the rafters. They'll be there forever. Nobody can take them away now. So spine chilling. Love it.
Coming to the game, says a feisty one. Obviously, a bit of playoff hockey. The referees putting their whistles in their pockets at times. The Giants come out with that first goal. Dundee fight back with Pouncey in the first period to sort of make it 1-1. But after that, the Giants just sort of hit their stride.
Yeah, we got 2 goals in the second period, sort of, pretty close together, sort of took the wind out of their sails. And, you talk about the physicality. At times there was both sides, ramped it up. And I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a really entertaining game as well. But, still making one too many mistakes in the first period. Adam obviously would have had a conversation with them. There's one of the mistakes there, which too much of a gap, and with it center ice and Sons go straight through, and Jackson pulling off a big save to keep it at 1-0 the Giants. But I just thought we sort of controlled the game. Yes, you want to get the first goal in games like this. They get back into it with a Kyle Pouncey goal to tie things up, and then again we get those 2 goals in the second period. Going into the third, you're looking at the physicality and that hit on Laker in the corner by Spencer Nass, and the referees let it go. I'm not going to fault the referees at all from the weekend. Saturday anyway. I thought they, when you're calling it fair, you're letting the things go. You're letting things go on both sides, and there was maybe one soft call, and the rest were, there wasn't that many until the scuffles at the end. But Spencer Nass makes a bad hit on Ben Lake. It goes unpunished, and I really liked what we did. I really liked that. Coops basically stood up for Laker. Laker doesn't need anybody stand up for him, in fairness. He would have basically been quite happy to drop the gloves on Spencer Nass, and Nass sort of turtled in the corner because, let's be honest, Laker would have punched the head clean off him. And then 5 minutes later, right at the other end of the arena, you see the incident with they get their second goal of the night, and Cameron Kiley, I think it was, took a hack and a whack at Bomber. Mike Lee stepped in, and then Con stepped in, fed him a few lefts for his lunch, and he went down. So, really like that part of the game where that we stood up for each other. Adam mentioned it in the interview that you come after one of us, you come after us all. And let's be honest, that really probably hasn't been the story this season for us. We haven't really looked to get involved that way, I don't think. But for that to happen in this type of environment, your playoffs, you're 4 games away from another trophy, and to stand up and back each other up, I absolutely loved it. I was really proud of the boys on Saturday night.
One of the things, Davey, as well, and obviously a lot of it floats around this, not taking away from the goals. Mike Lee with some great goals, especially that one-timer from just inside the blue line, just flying straight into the back of the net. But the Giants looked confident in front of goal. They were putting a lot of pucks on goal. They were getting right in the face of the goalkeeper. It was looking really positive.
I think Says has already said everything pretty much that need to be said there. It's interesting that this Giants thing, and Adam said it as well, and I think was it Doug Christensen that coined the term the collective exhale, and we had a little bit of that after the Challenge Cup. It would have been easy for that to happen this week after the rightful celebrations for winning the league. You got to celebrate success. You can't just put that on ice until, so to speak, until a later in date. You've just got to celebrate whenever that's upon you, because that's just how you do it. So for the team to come out in front of a big crowd, I think Mark Cooper said it last week, needed the crowd to be energized, to give them that that energy to go right from the start. And I thought it was a pretty good game of hockey over the 8 games. Like I've seen quite a bit of all 8 games over the weekend, and use that term again. The refs putting their whistles in their pockets. It's an interesting concept because at times across the 8 games it was prison rules, like anything goes, and
that's what you want to see, though, isn't it?
For me, I'm not going to complain if it's like that all season, but you've got to have that consistency. You can't call like a wee soft slash. Then you've got to allow things to go, but then that's when you get incidents like we got where people overstep the line and somebody has to step in. Talking about all the physicality and all, absolutely great. Old school hockey, absolutely loved it. For me, the pass shot from David Goodwin coming down. Simon talks about David Goodwin's hockey smarts all the time. Not for 1 minute was David Goodwin shooting to try and score there. He was only shooting to try and get that puck pop back out into the crease, into the slot. And I can't remember, was it Mike Lee again coming down?
Yep.
It was Lee to give it to Goody, wasn't it? And he continued his rush and beat all the forwards into the red zone. And Goody plays that little 1-2, and it's a great goal. But yeah, the physicality, Simon has said, at times this season you might have wanted to see a wee bit more of that team toughness that we talked about back in August and September. This team had toughness throughout it, but maybe not that one guy that was going to stand up and clobber anybody if necessary. But you see, when you have Scott Conway, right and wrong, you're in good shape as a team. We'll go on the Sunday night. Carl Boudreau jumps in for his captain. Ben Lake jumps in. Everybody, every man to every shoulder to the wheel. And I just love that kind of hockey. And it bodes really, really well for what is a huge weekend coming up.
Says, can we have a quick word for Mike Lee here? That's 5 goals in the last 5 games. 2 assists in there as well. It's it's a real good. He's on a rich vein of form.
Like you lose Gabe Bass for the last 5 games, and you're looking for somebody to step up. You lose Bo Hansen for another one of those games as well. At one stage we're down to 5 defensemen, and okay, but you've got Cameron Pound on the bench who hadn't played a lot of minutes for the previous weekend. But you're looking for somebody to stand up, and fair play to Spike Lee for doing that. 5 over the last 3 games before Sunday. And these are big goals as well. Getting obviously on the board, and then the one which Davey talked about there of the great play by Goody. You just basically need guys to step up, and it was both ends of the ice that he was playing well. It wasn't just as if he was jumping up into the play and not taking responsibility defensively. So I thought he did very, very well over the last 2 weekends, to be very honest, and hopefully he can carry that into this weekend as well, because again, it's going to be a tough ask this weekend. Whether, obviously the game against Cardiff Devils is the most important one to start off with. But we'll see where we end up.
In the first game against Nottingham at home, we had nearly half an hour of time on ice. Davey, he's pushing it well. But I'm just looking here the highlights that are accompanying us on the video feed are moved to sort of the physicality of the end of the game. And you see what Sis was talking there earlier about the hit on Ben Lake and the retribution that they saw, and also what will follow here is obviously the power play goal. And that power play goal comes also from following a great hit from JJ Pekanich on the blue line.
Yeah, a no give up. There was no quit on the play, and then it's rimmed around the board, and Jeff Baum's actually picked a really nice play off the wall. And is it mismatch stand in front, stick on the ice? Aaron Murphy says all the time, keep your head up and you're sticking the ice, and Masher's in the blue paint there with a stick on the ice, and that little pass there just finds him perfect, and that's a killer goal at that stage. And as Mark Lefebvre says, then it was all to play for on Sunday night. That first goal was going to be so crucial in Dundee with that barn rocking, and going to talk about Sunday on it.
Just another comment. See if you're that Dundee fan who's throwing something on the ice after this all kicked off. I hope you don't see another bit of ice for the next couple of seasons, mate, because I've been banjoed at games, and the lads know I've been banjoed at games, and I've probably been really, really angry at games as well. But I've never had a point where I threw something on the ice. It's incredibly dangerous. And also it was really good to see Taff and David Goodwin on the bench just sort of working out who this lad was to make sure that he was kicked out of the game, because that's a ridiculous thing to do. Says I was good that the Giants and the security staff moved quickly.
Yeah, he was a bit of a dick. You've got to take responsibility of that he was removed from the arena. But if something like that falls on the ice, whatever it may be, even if it's only a bit of paper, and and you got a guy basically crossing over his speed around the corner, catching a bit of paper on the ice. He's falling into the wall and he's going to hurt himself. So, you can't be doing that. Look at that. Go ahead, Cons. It's but as David says, when you get your number one player basically stepping up and your Bomber and Mike Lee, who were great all weekend, and coming up towards the end of that game, and Cons just basically, as I say, feeds him. He was actually hit him so many lefts, so he's begging for a right. But great to see.
The highlights of that game are from Belfast Giants TV. I'm going to come back to it because that was the last one of the season. Big thanks to them. And let's move on to that game on Sunday. The second leg of this, the Giants go in with a 5-2 lead and come out with a 3-1 win and 8-3 aggregate victory. We only got one post game. That's from Adam Keefe. Thanks to Dundee Stars TV.
Well, Adam, must talk to you. It's been a bit of a strange night, but you have qualified for the Final Four and you got a chance to make more history.
Yeah, you know what? I got to credit our players. It's very hard to recuperate after a league title win, especially in the dying minutes of a season, and gather yourselves and come back ready to play in a quarterfinal. We've scratched and clawed nonstop here over the last few years just to get into the Final Four. It doesn't matter what place you finish, the quarterfinals is very hard. Dundee came to play both nights, but our guys were ultimately probably too much to handle for Dundee, and it's just real proud of the guys. Dundee tried to bring it physically, and our guys stood there shoulder to shoulder with them, stuck up for each other, it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, last night, many would say the game was won then. I suppose your guys even tonight didn't accept that, and they came into this game with that same battle and character that they showed last night, and effectively ended the game in period one.
Yeah, you never want to give them life. Certainly, it can get loud and it can get chaotic in this building. Obviously, you guys have that one line that's very dangerous and a few other weapons. But I thought, credit to Dundee. I thought they competed all weekend. At the end of the day, though, our guys, they're looking to do something special here, right? And we wanted to make sure that we punched our ticket to Nottingham to give ourselves that chance.
And the pressure will be on you in some ways. People have got a lot of expectation on this Belfast Giants side going into the playoff weekend. Do you think you'll be able to manage it?
I actually don't see a whole lot of pressure right now. I mean, first of all, pressure is a privilege for us to be in this opportunity. But, I mean, these guys have done the work for 8 months here. So, I mean, pressure, not really, no. I mean, we want to execute. We want to become treble champions. But our work has been done here. That's the reason these guys had the opportunity to win a treble.
Can I just ask you on Ben O'Connor as well? There's going to be a presentation to him tonight. As a player for the Elite League and British Hockey, what do you say of him?
Yeah, you know what? I read that earlier this month there. It's unfortunate. He's had a storied career here in this league, abroad, and through the GB national team, which is where I know Ben from. I've competed against Ben and coached against him. He's a competitor out there. It's obviously a sad moment for him, but he should hold his head high. He's done great things here for UK ice hockey, and he's one of the legends of the game over here.
Well, congratulations on winning this playoff series, and best luck in Nottingham.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Thanks to the Stars TV for that. Right, the goals in this game for the Belfast Giants came from Mark Cooper, JJ Pickenich, and Bobo Carpenter on the power play, and Spencer Nash was the only goal for the Dundee Stars. Whistle nets, and that sort of rounds out the 8-3 aggregate win that sends the Belfast Giants into the first semi-final of the playoffs on Saturday. Says start with you in this one. Lot of positives to come from this one. The Giants starting really, really well with getting that goal from Coops, getting another one quickly after that with JJ, and from that we went into a roll. And then there was a bit of a flashpoint about halfway through the game that saw Puo, Lake, Boudreau, and Craig Moore all involved in penalties. Yeah,
and again, you talk about you want to get that good start. That was the most important thing about Sunday night's game. You're taking a 5-2 lead in there. You don't want them to give them life. You don't want to get them, getting the first and maybe the second goal of the evenings and get it back to 5-4. They would have been looking to try and get a really good start on on Sunday night, but we nullified them. I thought we managed the game very, very well. They tried to ramp up their physicality. Poulet came out, jumped. Mark Cooper tried to get involved with. There you go, trying to get involved with Kieran Long there, and that's just this. To be honest with you, that's just a waste of an import slot in this league now. And he was his fourth line player trying to take the captain off the ice, and I absolutely love what Carl Boudreau did. Jumped in, taking the third man off. That's absolutely Adam would not have had a problem with that. Absolutely not. And for him to step up for his teammates again, showing that it basically you want to take one of his on, you're going to have to take all of his on. So you knew Laker would have basically jumped in because that's he protects his teammates all the time. And but the bottom line is their game was lost by their goaltender in the first 5-6 minutes of the game. 2 mistakes. That one there is a simple save. He doesn't make it. That's a 6-2 game. And that basically, that more or less, and you see the goalie there, the head looking up in the sky. He wasn't good enough on Sunday. For us, again, lucky, we basically managed to put the foot in the throat, get the second goal very quickly, and sort of kill the game off. And after that, as I say, I thought the boys managed it very, very well.
Davy says right, the fact that what this game then became was just the Dundee Stars trying to ramp up a physicality. And that's not a bad thing. Like, if you're in that position, that's not a bad thing for them to do. And also, it's not a bad thing for us to be in that sort of a fight, playoff-wise, going into next week against the Cardiff Devils, to have been in this sort of an end-to-end physical game.
Yeah, I would say, making no mistake, Sunday or Saturday, will be a war, I would imagine. Don't know what Simon thinks about that, but yeah, their goalie's been great for them this season. He certainly picked a bad night to lay a bit of an egg, or he's coughed up 2 bad ones there, and you need it in playoff hockey. You need your goalie to be absolute clutch for you. And fortunately for them, fortunately for us, Keefe is able to come down a long feed pass from Jeff Baum, and he's able to go over the goalie's glove. But as Simon says, he looks straight to heavens as if, I don't know what I've done. And then JJ, that's two across the weekend. There was one on Saturday and as well, banked in off his back as well. So that's maybe something that we've been analysing. He's maybe a little bit aggressive off his line after saves been made or whatever, but we've had 2 quick read and react there, 2 good goals. That's the level of play you've got from the like of JJ Pickens, is to see things quicker than other people see them. Real good. And as you say, then it became a bit of a physical battle. They have a big crowd in there. They know they're probably not going to come back and score at one stage. They needed maybe 7 goals or something to go through. So, put on a show for the crowd as well. That incident with Pouliot and Boudreau and Coops, and I think Laker was pretty hard done by. I don't even think he got his gloves off and ended up with a 5-minute fighting major. It's sort of off the side. It's hard to see. He's kind of holding him down so he can't get at Coops. Coops is in a very vulnerable position at that stage. But fair play to Card for dropping the mitts with Craig Moore and more than holding his own against a big guy. And Card's no shrinking fat either. But it's good to see that physicality. We're going to have big physical games against a big Cardiff Devils at the weekend, and we've shown at last that this team is not going to be messed about at any sort of stoppages. So I'd like to see the refs leave their whistles in their pockets again this weekend and let the players decide the score, decide the action. So here's crossed.
Here's one for you. It says, why was there a need to review that goal from Bobo Carpenter? Because I'm pretty sure that even I thought it was like it went straight in.
He might have been looking for goaltender interference. We're not told these things. When they showed the replay from behind the net, you seen that again. It's sort of there's a bouncing puck. I don't even think Bobo touched it. I thought it come off their defenseman, to be honest. But whoever was the last, Bobo must have been the last giant to touch the puck, or Davey might be able to come up with whoever it is. Might have been Shane's. I really don't know. But again, you get that's an ill-disciplined penalty from Pouliot, and there's the gate. Oh my goodness, that's actually. It's like the bottom line is, we put up another good performance. So we talk about, before this weekend happened, Dundee, they were coming in. They'd been playing games that were important and leading up to it. We talk about the, trying to keep up that mentality of playing big games and just keeping our lit and once you get your opportunities, take them. And we took them this weekend. We've been guilty of not taking chances over the last while, and right now again with 8 goals over the weekend, and against a team that, have been fighting the whole way for the last month to stay in a playoff spot. So it was never going to be easy, but I thought we actually did a really, really professional job over the weekend.
Go on, Davey. You explain to me why that was reviewed.
Well, there's no real explanation needed. That's the goal there. Toby just doesn't see it in the back of the net. He's looking for it there. He just literally doesn't see it. He's not in a great position because he's coming down the ice. The goal at the ref at the other end can't give it. Toby just doesn't see it in the back of the net. So he hasn't signaled.
If he goes closer to the net, he might be able to see it.
Yeah, but he hasn't signaled goal. And that's why they've reviewed it. He's looking for it there. He can't see it. Bad position. But they got it right. They went to the TV. They got it right. It's unlucky there. It pops up. PO knocks it in there, and then there's a bit of a scramble, and it's been awarded.
Comes off.
It's certainly, it's came off somebody, and Bobo's closest, so he probably gets it.
Ben O'Connor was given a bit of a thing at the end of the game. Obviously, he's retiring. And then at the post game, I think Mark Lefebvre there's going to be actually 5 retirees from that. I don't know who they all are, but a bit of a word for Ben O'Connor. Obviously, he was on with us earlier in the season. He's played for many teams across the Elite League, says, but a great servant to all those teams and the Team GB.
Yeah, for sure. And he's been a quality player the whole way through. Certainly it's, finishing up in Dundee and keeping it going. What is he, 36, 37 now? But we had a real big chance to get him to Belfast, and he got a better opportunity in Kazakhstan. We've told the story on the podcast before about him, and it was a waste of a day. I drove him around Belfast for the day and showed him where to go to, showed him the Heart Bar, showed him the apartments when Todd Noel was here. But again, getting an opportunity like going back to Kazakhstan, for the tremendous opportunity for him, and played at a decent level over there for 3 or 4 years. But congratulations to Ben for the career that he's had. He's a top lad as well. I like Ben O'Connor. I know he got man of the match in Belfast on Saturday night as well. So I hope he enjoys his retirement. But we'll wait and see if he does put his skates on again at some point for something.
Well, okay. Davey, do you want to add to that?
I don't know what it's certainly Northern Ireland Tourist Board will never be coming looking says whenever he'll take somebody for a day out in Belfast and they'll decide to go to Kazakhstan instead. But great servant to British hockey. Great in the red, white, and blue of Team GB. I know we've got guests coming on now. I'll probably say more about him in that capacity. But, he played for a lot of teams around the league, served them all with great distinction. I know we had a good laugh with him at different times about little bloopers here and there. But, he won a lot and he served those teams an awful lot of games in this league. It's not easy to get to the Elite League, let alone play as many games as he did for as many different clubs and represent your country. And it'd be remembered he scored a real fabulous penalty shot and won the World Championships, a real dinky move. So, congratulations to him on an absolutely great career. I really don't like, even though he never played for us, I hate to see players retire because there's a little bit of emotion there that, I don't cope with well. I don't like to see players' careers come to an end. I just wish him all the best in the next chapter, whatever he goes on to. I hope he's every bit as successful in that as what he was as a hockey player.
Yeah. Best luck to Ben O'Connor in whatever life takes him to next. Right, gents, let's have our first. You mentioned we've mentioned him a few times in this show. He's involved in quite a bit of physicality and goes over the course of the weekend. Delighted to welcome back to View from the Bridge, the one, the only Ben Lake. How do you, mate?
Hey, gentlemen.
Turn your phone 90 degrees, mate. That's I'll get the t-shirt eventually.
I'm a little closer. I gotta hold it out.
That's cool. Liquor, give us your take on the weekend then, mate.
Yeah, pretty good, obviously. I think from experience the last 3 years, we've really kind of limped into the final weekend. I wouldn't say limped in, but we've really had to work for it. Whereas I think obviously there are 2 tough games, but I think we were pretty stress-free and on Sunday there after the start we had. So, it was nice to be able to kind of take the foot off the gas for a bit there and kind of coast through the last period and a half and save some legs, save some bodies, and obviously still got a little physical, but we knew at that point kind of the tie was finished. So it was nice to be able to do that, especially after, what was it last year? Coventry, we beat them by a goal. The year before was Glasgow. We lost the second leg and went through. The year before we won in a shootout. So it's never easy after you win the league, and you know that sigh of relief you have after grinding for all season, and it's from experience, like it's difficult to ramp it back up, but I think we were able to do that this weekend, which was nice to see, and not something we've been able to do previously. So it was very good feeling there.
They were two of the more physical games that we've seen all season. And we talk about the last 5 minutes, and you were heavily involved in the last 5 minutes on Saturday. And we talk about what happened halfway through on Sunday, and you were involved in that as well. But when it comes to playoff hockey, is that what we should expect?
Yeah, of course. I think we're the only team that's won silverware this year, so everyone else is fighting for that last one, and that's their season, right? So we expect everyone's best going forward, and we expect to be at our best. And things are going to happen out there, and emotions are going to run high. You're playing to end somebody's season. They're playing to end ours. So obviously things are going to can at some points get a bit out of control. So no, it was, it's to be expected. Nothing got too out of control. So nobody got injured. So we're all good to go for next weekend.
Lager, obviously, congratulations on the league championships. It's brilliant to see the banners going up. We were just talking about that at the start of the show. It's great that the guys that won them can see the banners going into the rafters.
Yeah, totally. We were stood at the blue line there, and Bobo, who won it in the coast last year, he's like, "This is awesome! Like, I've never been able to do it." He's won 3 years in Florida, and obviously he wasn't able to watch his banner raising because they would have done it at the start of this year. So no, it's really good to be able to see that, and I think it kind of pushes everyone on in that moment to kind of in that game to push forward and have another good game and go for that third banner.
I'm talking of going for that third banner. Obviously, the league season's long and it's intense over a long period of time. But the playoffs just seem to have ramped up, even against Dundee there. Watching the other games, refs have been a little less whistle happy. It's so much more of a fun product to watch. Is it more fun to play in?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're kind of Keefe puts that on us to play at that intensity all season long. So I wouldn't say we're playing any different, but I think you can tell other teams are kind of ramping it up. For the most part, most teams are playing to get into the playoffs and win that playoff trophy. So I think for us, it's we can definitely notice a difference. Dundee obviously came out hard, and we're a lot more physical than we're used to playing them in the regular season. So no, it's to be expected, and it's always going to be like that in playoff hockey, especially from the guys coming over from North America. That's what they're used to. They're used to, getting in the playoffs and then winning the playoffs. Whereas over here, winning the league is the regular season champ. So it's a little different for guys to get used to. And but no, whenever you hear the word playoffs, guys are always going to elevate their games for that.
Laker, obviously with the new spectacles, everybody can see that you're watching the football, so I don't want to take too much of your time.
Oh, do you know the score?
I don't know the score. No, what's the score?
They're down 1 on aggregate now. They just scored 2 goals.
Oh, longer will be glued to the TV as well. Should we try and get longer on? See if he answers the phone.
He's messaging me. He's very aroused right now. Can I say that?
Yeah, you've said it.
Look, you've won the league now the last 3 of the last 4 years. You won the Challenge Cup 3 out of the last 4 years, and you won 1 playoff trophy. Do you fancy another one this weekend?
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's why we play, right? The whole experience of the playoff final weekend is it's unreal. when you get there, you can feel the anticipation and you feel the energy there. So, obviously, I'd like to get my record, or not just mine, but our record in the last. This will be our 4th trip. We've only won it once, so I'd like to get that record back up. So no, it's gonna be fun. It's not gonna be easy either. It's four top 4 teams in the league throughout the season, which is great. It's gonna be, the fans are gonna be awesome. We gotta take care of business against Cardiff, which is gonna be not an easy task. Obviously, we know them very well. We've played them many times this season, and they're always tough to play against. They got high powered offense, a lot of skilled players, and some big D men. So, no, I think we're all excited, and we're excited to get back on the ice tomorrow and prepare for the week.
I know that one of the big, strong D men is a very, very good friend of yours. You grew up with him. What's it like playing against a guy that you've known since you were 3, 4, 5 years of age?
Yeah, it's definitely pretty we haven't.
When your mum and dad were over last month, they were telling me, and it was actually McWilliam's mum and dad were there too. And they were telling me about it. I mean, it must be strange. You want to, you certainly want to win for your team. He wants to win for his, and you've got to do a handshake at the end of that game.
Yeah. So basically, we grew up basically 5 minutes down the road from each other. Both are, well, his mom's Australian. My parents are obviously British. So, so our parents are very good friends, and we've known each other since we were probably 3, 4 years old. So, it's strange for sure. We talk all the time still, and when you're on the ice, he's a competitor, I'm a competitor, so there's not really much said on the ice, but after the game, we're always happy to share a pint after. So that's all that matters, I guess, as long as we win also.
Licker, when you came into the Elite League, you'd played 2 seasons in Alaska, right? So that's an experience that I'm quite interested in. But also, before you went to Sacred Heart, you played in Fort McMurray. Again, I was offered a job once in Fort McMurray, and for people that know where it is, it's right in the north of Alberta. It's the Athabasca Sands. What is it about playing in those sort of northern frozen territories that you enjoyed so much?
That's all that wanted me. No, honestly, Fort Mac was, I mean, you'd fit right in there. They're full of newfies who are pretty much basically Irish, but no, it's basically, I was playing in I was a pretty late bloomer in high school, so I didn't really grow till I was 16, 17, and had a really good last year of midget, which is your last year in high school. And then played junior A, and Fort McMurray kind of recruited me. And ended up playing there for 3 years, which was an awesome experience. We had a really good team all 3 years. We lost in the finals my second year there in Game 7, which was pretty heartbreaking. But I loved it. I lived with the same billets for 3 years. It was, don't get me wrong, it was cold. Like -40 some days, -50. But no, it was great. It was first time living away from home. 8 hours north of where I'm from in Calgary. So that was awesome. And then was lucky enough to get a scholarship to go play at Sacred Heart. And then after that, I signed in the coast to play in Alaska for 2 years, which was I enjoyed it, like great teammates. I didn't enjoy the hockey very much. It was the coach I had there he wasn't a big fan of myself. I'm not sure why he signed me back for a second year. But I was it was tough. The travel was tough. Living in Alaska was tough. It was dark all the time. Don't get me wrong. Like Anchorage is a great city. There just wasn't. I just wasn't in a place in my life where I was out there doing much. It was. But then, yeah, I think going to Coventry was I was honestly ready to call it quits. And I thought I'd give it one more shot. You know, having the British passport, I'll head over. Played in Coventry, and it kind of just revitalized me. I was playing a lot of minutes and scoring goals, so I just had the fun in it again. And here I am, almost 8 years later, still playing.
Yeah.
So.
That was going to be my next one, is the fact that Danny brings you in at Coventry. You played a couple of years here before you come over here. But when you came, you say your parents are British. You had the opportunity to play Team GB, which you have. Did you see? You wouldn't have seen yourself when you made that jump from Alaska to Coventry that you would still be playing over here 8 years later, would you?
No, absolutely not. I had a pretty decent first year in Coventry there, and then I was offered to do my master's for my second year. I thought, I'll play one more year, get my master's and call it quits. And then obviously had a very good season my second year, and Belfast came calling, and traveling here as a away player, it was kind of a no-brainer. I thought, I'll give it a shot. I'll live in Belfast, see how that is, and it's kind of became a second home for us here now. So it's I love the city. I love being here. I love playing at the SSE. It's just you can't really beat it in our league for sure, and most of Europe. I think we're kind of punching above our weight.
Like you won't see it on the podcast how emotional I get when I see guys coming and talking about my city. Like, I love it absolutely. So thank you for saying such great things about Belfast. Two things, we've got to let you go and watch the end of this game. Two quick questions. One for your namesake, Ben O'Connor. We were talking about him just before you came on, announcing his retirement. I know you'll have some things to say. And someone in the chat says, what's your thoughts on Rory McIlroy's big win?
You know what? It was unreal. I'm not like a huge. That was probably the first round of golf I've watched, and I was saying I can't remember who I was telling, but first time I've watched a round of golf since I was in Alaska, which was the Masters in whatever would have been 2017, and it was incredible. Like, it was a perfect storm. We were all like on the bus after we won, like all watching it on the bus, and it was, and like the ups and downs, and like he was hitting some incredible shots, hitting some terrible shots, and then to go out and like do it in a first playoff, it was insane. But I was definitely cheering for Rory. I'll say that. I know Spike was not. He wouldn't shut up. It was he made some enemies for sure.
Some more.
Yeah, more enemies, exactly. But no, it was like, I was like, why can't golf always be like this? I'd actually watch it.
Yeah. I'm just on a quick word for Big Ben O'Connor packing it.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, OC's great guy. I've spent a lot of time with him, obviously playing with GB, and then kind of in that in the lockdown season when I played with the Steel Dogs. He was there, but no, he's a great guy. Always definitely a loud voice in the room. One of the leaders in that GB room. And he's always got time for everyone. He's great with the young guys. He's always there to listen and provide advice to anyone who asks for it. He's been around a long time, and we're definitely going to miss him after this tournament in Romania here, but happy he's going to be there for that and have a proper send-off for him.
Listen, Laker, we're going to let you go. Enjoy the last injury time of this game. I don't
think they're going to do it.
the PSG are still got that 1-goal advantage. Good luck this weekend against Cardiff. Hopefully, we'll see you again on Sunday in the final. But another big weekend for the Giants. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, boys. See you soon.
Cheers,
Cheers, bye.
Save the date.
June 2025. A couple more names been added to the roster, not least in recent days with Stephen Murphy being added in there. But at this point, then let's invite the man himself. You're once again an Elite League winning coach for the Belfast Giants. Once again, a Challenge Cup winning coach for the Belfast Giants, and this weekend hoping to once again be a playoff winning coach for the Belfast Giants. Please welcome back Adam Keefe. How are you doing, Coach?
Not bad, guys. Good evening.
Congratulations on another league title. And how did it feel to see those banners being lifted on Saturday evening?
Yeah, I was listening to Laker. I thought the banner raising, I think, was a great thing there for those guys to witness it. It was their hard work, the players, all their hard work and commitment all year long to get not just the Challenge Cup, but the League One done. And it took us to, like I said, the final minutes of the season. I'm not sure when that's happened before, when both teams have been playing like that. But, either way, they got it done. And, for them to see the banners being raised in person, to have that exact same team, because this will probably be the last weekend that we see this same team together. So to have that done on the night, I thought that it really provided a lot of energy for the group. I thought we started well. And as we know, we've seen in the past, the quarterfinals are very hard to get through. So, credit to the players for turning up and didn't look like they missed a beat there. It's almost if the stress of the league was over and they could play a little more freely. And, obviously the results proved that.
You mentioned it there in passing, but let me take you back to the previous weekend, to those last 5 minutes in Nottingham, and the fact that 3-3 in our game, 3-3 in the game down the road. I've never experienced anything like it with regards to Belfast Giants or in hockey at all in the 25 years of our club. How did you feel on the bench? Did you feel tense?
Pretty tense all year long.
In that specific moment, though?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I didn't love maybe our first period just in terms of defensively. But I thought the guys were really pushing to get back into that game and to make a game of it. And you could kind of feel that things were turning for us there in the third period. I thought we had some opportunities to get that game done in regulation. At the same time, Jackson made some big saves to kind of stop Nottingham from getting it done as well. So it was a real tight game, the playoff style game. They certainly didn't hand it to us, that's for sure. So in the third period, there was a little bit of a chat between Taff and I to kind of give me the updates there. And during the third period, up until that point, we didn't really want to know what was going on in Coventry, because we wanted to get it done the right way, which is win in Nottingham and control our own destiny. Ultimately the guys ended up getting that done as well. So it was good. It was obviously a weird way to win it, but we've won this league a lot of weird ways. And it's part of this league.
Adam, you were interviewed after the Dundee game, and he said, there's a weight of expectation or a pressure or whatever on the Belfast Giants. It's been 9 months now. If you go back from August to April, 9 months of practices and repetition and guys doing the same thing again and again. They've earned the right to go to Nottingham this weekend. So as you say, it's not really pressure, and as such, it's more it's a deserved end to hopefully a magnificent season.
Yeah, George came up with a quote there. Hay is in the barn. You know, I think that was a couple years ago. I think that was the treble year. We talked about like what that really means, and it's, you know, the work is done. You know, essentially the players, they know exactly how to win. They know what they have to do to win. It's just about us executing, and obviously, you know, the other team has a part to play in it, right? Like I think everybody forgets that. You know, through the last 7 weeks of the year, we didn't. We probably could have made it a little easier on ourselves, but at the same time, we're playing against teams that are fighting for their lives for playoffs and things like that. So you know, they make it difficult on you, and everybody's up for playing against the team that's in first place. So it is hard. You know, that's a reality. But finally, the guys broke through and got the job done. And you know, here we are. The hardest bit is to get to Nottingham in the Final Four. Now I think that, you know, when we get there, I think that the moment will excite the players, and we're going to see some real good playoff games. And you know, it's going to come down to the team that does the little things and maybe makes a few less mistakes and has some bigger moments. You know, and that's what's going to happen here on the weekend. So you know, we're just excited to get there, be chomping at the bit. I'm sure the players will be just waiting for these 3 practices to fly by here and get to Nottingham.
Adam was literally just about to say about that. You know, obviously you've it's not very often you have 2 days off, you know, in a row and such a long time anyway. But how's your last 2 days been? Because I know you never switch off anyway, but the boys would have had a chance to relax and just take it easy for a couple of days and get ready for 3 more practices before the big game against Cardiff on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the mental rest, and I think these guys need it. One, a mental rest from me, a mental rest from the grind of the season, to just come back re-energized here for one final descent is what we're calling it. You know, it's our way down, and we hit the summit. You know, winning the league title, that's the summit for us, and now you've got that final descent back down the Mourne Mountains, and it's how we're going to do it. You know, are we going to, you know, tumble down, or we're gonna go down there and end this thing the way we started the season off? So, you know, I'm looking forward to the players' reactions and them getting to experience that Nottingham weekend. You know, it's one thing that I usually do talk about throughout the year is I want everybody to experience the Final Four weekend. It's something that's unique to this league. It's a great way to end the season. You're ending with your team together on the road, you know, in a fantastic atmosphere and an advert for the league. Obviously, we want to end it on Sunday with another trophy celebration, but we have to have full focus here on Saturday. You know, it's going to be a great way to end the league and our league campaign as a team. So, like I said, I'm excited to get to Nottingham. I'm sure the players are. That being said, I'm sure Cardiff, Sheffield, and Nottingham are as well. So it's going to be an exciting weekend.
I know your focus is all on Saturday. I get that, and you got 3 practices. But you've announced that, well, there's been an announcement over the last couple of days of some of your ex-teammates and ex-guys who you've coached coming back to play in your testimonial. And we haven't spoken to you an awful lot about the testimonial, but you must be looking forward to it. You know, you're bringing back all these guys who've, you know, Darryl Lloyd, who, you know, you spent 6 years of your life basically looking after him and babysitting him around the ice. You've, you know, Davy Phillips coming back. You've Kevin Surratt, you're really fond of. Benny. You've got all these guys who you've went to war with, and you've coached an awful lot of them as well. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome weekend altogether. Just to see them, have a few pops with them. You know, just bring back old memories. You know, there's been a lot of memories here, a lot of good ones, some not so good ones, but they're all, you know, that's what makes us. I guess we're all along for this ride through the ups and downs, and a lot of these guys have been there throughout that. And to me, a lot of these guys are guys that just love the city of Belfast and love the organization, and the fan base loves them. So I'm just excited to just enjoy the weekend with everybody. To me, it's a celebration of the last 25 years, and also, a celebration of my time here as a Belfast Giant and all these players that are coming back's time as a Belfast Giant, their contributions to this club. So I'm excited to bring them back. And there's a lot of guys that just you can't bring everybody back. There's a lot of guys that aren't coming back or couldn't make it back. That sucks as well. I wish everybody could come back from my time here. I think it would be a massive party. But obviously, there's a lot of costs involved in all of that. So, it's going to be a good weekend. I'm excited for it. Just hope that we can get this last one here and make it an extra special summer.
Yeah, with the hospice hockey game and your testimonial, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And we were planning we'll get some of these guys on in the build up, and we'll talk to some of them. We'll build up to it well because it's going to be one exciting weekend at the SSE Arena. Let me just bring you back to your comment in regards to the playoff finals weekend, Coach. And you've been involved in many of these. I remember you taking warm up despite the fact I think you only had one leg at that time. And games that have went well, games that haven't gone well, and then the ultimate of winning it the way that you did a couple of years ago, and the opportunity to do that again. But you talk about this weekend as it is, and it's quite unique the way that we do it in this Final Four. What is it about this weekend do you think that that makes it so exciting?
Well, I think just the everything on the line here in one weekend for these final four teams, but also all teams, all 10 teams, fan bases being there, having a little section of their own, and kind of one big send off for the Elite League as a whole, not just the 4 teams that are there, but for everybody that's in attendance or watching at home. It's a great spectacle for the league. It's a lot of fun for the players. It has that tournament feel, almost as if you're in Europe for Continental Cup weekend or whatever it may be. It just has that final feeling, I suppose. And you talk about, I don't know how many times I've been in it. I've missed it a few times and been in it a lot, played in it and lost in the finals, semifinals. Finally, we got the treble across the line and won a playoff one, and that's the first one in my time here. And this weekend will be our 4th go at a treble. So, I mean, that's so far we're 1 for 3 at our chances to win a treble. So it would be nice to make it 2 and to become the only team, I think, in the Elite League era that's ever done that.
Adam, again, Cardiff Devils this weekend. Pete Russell very, very well. We've had a lot of success against them this year, but Saturday's game is going to be a big battle against a good friend of yours. Yeah,
apart from the one game in Belfast, I don't think none of those games were very easy. They could have went either way. They've went through some ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs, and through a lot of injuries this year. They've won a European Championship, went to a Challenge Cup final. That's a very good hockey team. We have to be prepared for their best. It's their last chance. We always say it's very hard to end somebody's season, and that's what these games are. They're do or die games. So you're going to face their best. I believe Bounzy's playing very well right now. I've seen him single-handedly take a game away, our trophy and a treble away from us, our first attempt at it. So we know that he's going to be very good. The team's going to be very good, and we have to just focus on ourselves, focus on what we do well, and what made these guys league champions. And that is focusing on our foundation and trying to be as solid as possible.
Coach, we thank you for your time and good luck this weekend. If you wouldn't mind just waiting just 2 more minutes and have you as part of the next bit we're going to do, because we handed out the Player of the Month for March at the last game, and the winner of that was with almost half of the vote. It went to Jeff Baum, number 6 for your Belfast Giants. He received the trophy after the game against Dundee, our final home game of the season. Bit of a word for Jeff Baum, Coach. He's back. He came back. He was turned pro with the Belfast Giants, having played in the Friendship 4. We'd seen him, and he's been with us ever since. He was player of the season last season, and he's put in another great shift this year.
Yeah, it's very fitting. I just finished talking about the foundation and how we have to be solid to win championships, and he's a massive part of that. He's probably one of the most consistent players, just night in, night out. This game doesn't change a whole lot. I always talk about trying to find players, trying to find their absolute height of, where they can get to in a game, their highest standard of play, and then trying to raise your bottom, your low end of your play to as close to that high standard as you can. And I would say his is very close. Jeff is a very consistent player, so he's very reliable. I've never seen a player break up as many 2-on-1s as I have him in the last couple of years here. So, we certainly need him to be at his best, and we need everybody to be at their best this weekend. But it's a great reward for Jeff and his efforts, because sometimes, he does all those little things that sometimes can, go unnoticed, and certainly not by me and not by his teammates.
Davy, your thoughts on Jeff Baum winning Player of the Month for March?
Yeah, and he was very close in February as well, and that just adds to what Adam's saying there about a level of consistency, especially, I guess, since the turn of the year. I've noticed like an upturn in consistency there with him. He does the simple things well. He transitions the puck well up the ice. He's first back on the back check. He's a model pro back there, and little personal rewards don't really mean that much to these guys, because they're very team first. But it's also nice to get a nod as well sometimes, and a pat on the back.
I do. Great turnout as well, and this vote says it just shows what a popular player that he is.
And that's it. He's popular in the room. He's popular with the fans. He's one of those guys that, Laura always asked the guys to step forward for doing different things around off the ice community wise. Bomber's one of the first ones every single time to put his hand up. He's a great guy, great player, and thoroughly deserved for Player of the Month for sure.
Congratulations, Jeff Baum, winning the View from the Ridge Player of the Month for March. And once again, Adam Keefe, big thanks to you for joining us. Good luck this weekend. No doubt it's going to be another battle against the Cardiff Devils in the semi-final, but hopefully we get through that, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you over there.
Once again, a big thanks to Ben Lake and to the head coach Adam Keefe ahead of this weekend. Gents, let's talk about this weekend. Let's talk about what we've got ahead of us and what we're to expect in this Final Four in Nottingham. The two semi-finals, as we said, Belfast Giants will take on the Cardiff Devils at 3 p.m. before the Sheffield Steelers will face their old foe in the Nottingham Panthers at 7 p.m. for all four of those teams vying for the final berth at 5 p.m. on Sunday. The Sheffield Steelers probably were the closest run thing, being forced into overtime at home by the Glasgow Clan, while the Giants, the Panthers, and the Cardiff Devils all relatively scored 8 in their games. But Davey, what I would say is, when you look at the four teams that are going in here, this is the potential to be one of the best playoff weekends that we've had in years.
Yeah, four well-matched teams, all in pretty decent form. All have had to play hard to get there, so they're well tuned up. And me, Paddy, don't particularly like this part of the show, so I will
get you a t-shirt with that on.
Say very little. I expect Saturday to be, and I've said at the start, expect it to be an absolute war. I was watching a guy give a motivational speech to an American football team, and he was talking about everyone has dreams. And everyone's dreams to win the playoff, and you have to be the nightmare. We have to come and spoil. We have to take someone's dream away. They want to play on Sunday afternoon, not Sunday morning. Nobody. I still maintain greatest game on earth, but nobody wants to play on Sunday morning.
Why do you think it's the greatest game on earth, mate?
I'm not going to say no more. Kiss Paddy Pars, doesn't it? Nobody wants to play on Sunday morning. No. Everybody wants to play in the showpiece and sat on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. You want to finish. You want to play that last game of the season, and you want to win that last game of the season. That's the target on day one of the season, is to win the last match this season. You've worked so hard to get there. You got to get through those 54 games. Finish seeded first, get the big trophy, win the Challenge Cup. You want to win the playoffs. You want to win. You want to be greedy. You want to win everything. You want that in your CV. And as Adam said earlier, there, to have an opportunity to go for another Grand Slam is unbelievable. Obviously, everything that comes with that. You have a chance to write yourself into a little bit of history. You go down. You're a chapter in a very storied book here, but you go down as a team in history, a team of legends. You end up with players in this team with their names on the Hall of Fame. You end up with players in this team with their shirts hung in the banners with those other banners that we've won. So it's there's a lot to play for. There's a lot on the line here, but I expect Cardiff. All the games against Cardiff have been tight, maybe apart from the one blowout. Challenge Cup final was tight as well, despite the scoreline. So I expect it to be a complete war, and I just hope that we can come out on not to reiterate that us v us point, but if we can be good, we take some stopping. So just I'm hopeful, Paddy. I don't want to say too much.
We heard when Adam was speaking post game on after the Sunday's game, he said the pressure is a privilege, and no better way to put it. I think it says, were you surprised that Sheffield run it so close against Glasgow?
No, I said last week I thought Glasgow might have taken them. To be honest, they played very well on Friday night. I watched the game on Friday night, and you knew Sheffield were going to come out and play well on Sunday, and they got 2 quick goals that basically tie things up, but to take them the whole way to a shootout or overtime anyway, in the second game goes to show how close that series actually was. So, but look, I mean, the 4 teams that are in this weekend, they've all got a chance. There's no doubt about it. We've just got to concentrate on the first one, which is ours, and the Cardiff Devils. Adam talked about how good they can be, and we know that what they bring to the table. They're big and they're basically defensively sound. Barnes, as Adam's already said, he's capable of winning games on his own. However, so's Jackson. Jackson's played well this year. We've got good players. We've got good team. We're confident right now. But again, on paper, it's going to be a really tough game. I expect it to be a very tough game, and I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully, as Davy said, we can come out and be the team that plays on Sunday afternoon instead of Sunday morning.
It's going to be one hell of a blockbuster weekend. As you look at the way Nottingham are playing at home, the way that they've sort of ramped up, and some of the players they have. You see the goal from Mitch Fossier at the weekend as well, in a penalty shot from him. So it's absolute, it's going to be 4 good, evenly matched teams in one hell of a weekend. The Belfast Giants will have the first game against the Cardiff Devils. That's at 3 p.m. on Saturday. That will be available from Elite League TV. The details of that went up on the Elite League website. £16 per game. I believe that is where it is. It's a bit much, but anyway, especially for the third, fourth place game. But it is what it is. The Elite League TV will cover both semi-finals on Saturday, and then the finals. The third, fourth place game will be on Sunday before the final happens at 5 p.m. and that is both on Elite League TV and on Premier Sports. But the most important one, Belfast Giants against the Cardiff Devils. 3 p.m. on Saturday. Any other business, boys?
Yeah, I have a few. Massive giant thanks to everybody who contributed to the pajama call on Saturday. It was absolutely ridiculous, the amount of people that brought pajamas and little items for hospitals around Northern Ireland. Laura went in on Sunday morning to basically try and get everything put together, and then the amount of stuff that was brought in by our fans. Like people say about, are you surprised about it? I'm absolutely not surprised anymore. They're very, very generous, and anything that we try and put out like that, whether it be a teddy toss or whether it be, your food bank or whatever it may be, the amount of clothing that was brought in, the amount of baby stuff, the amount of all these little items that they really need was absolutely off the charts, and we can't thank you enough. Your generosity is just fantastic, and we really appreciate it. Number 2, we were toyed with what to do with the white jerseys that the team won the championship in, and AVFTB put it up there on, I can't remember, Saturday, was it, for the first set? The winners have been announced for them, and the amount of messages we got about it, basically, what are you doing with the rest of the jersey? So just keep an eye out on socials and see what is going to happen to them. But there's 5 up for grabs right now. We posted a link. Can we post it again? To let people see that the link is there, and you can basically go on raffle site and you can buy the raffles until 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. And, again, supporting everything we do is massively supported. Congratulations to the 5 winners that that basically got their jerseys, got the call yesterday about to arrange to get them picked up and collected. Hopefully 5 more people will be very lucky tomorrow night. I know there's a lot of people want to win certain jerseys, and one of those jerseys is up for grabs tomorrow night. So massive thanks again for all your support.
Davey, anything for yourself?
Yeah, I put £9 in trying to win one of those shirts, so I might have to put another £9 in because I was unlucky. But not to worry, I might have to fight someone for one of them. 2 things. Absolute cap tip to young Jasmine Parker, the Easter Bunny again, 4,000 Easter eggs. Young Belfast Giants fan. I think Jasmine's 14, 15, something like that, but she does this every year. She's been out and about around the hospitals, around the children's wards, handing out Easter eggs. And more power to her. It's really nice to spread some love this time of year, and little kids that are in hospital and to see their parents and stuff getting something just nice that somebody's thinking about them. So kudos to Jasmine for doing that year on year. And I seen, I can't get up now, I ran out of time there, but Ethan McLean won some award this week. Well done, Ethan. I'm really, really shy that I just don't have it prepared to say exactly what the award was, but I know you're not very well at the minute, mate, so get well soon. I do hope you get to the playoffs. I've seen your mum posted earlier that you're not very well at all and you might not make it, but we hope you do, and if you do, we'll see you for a wee fist bump there.
And one thing from me is I just want to wish Television's Neil the Coach Russell a very good luck for Thursday. I'll just leave it at that. We'll be failing after it says, but a very good luck for Thursday, and he won't be at playoffs this year, but yeah, best luck, mate.
Happy birthday to Naomi. Naomi McAleese is her birthday today.
No,
she would sing.
I see that. I see.
You sing.
No, we're not going to sing. Naomi, you don't want to hear us sing.
Never works. It never works.
No. She's already. As soon as
there we are. So someone's put up there. He won the Uber Heroes Act of Kindness Award. So well done to Ethan on that. That's brilliant. Really well done, man.
Brilliant. Well done.
As soon as Naomi heard you saying sing, she hung up. So she switched off already. There's no point.
And I see that Sophie Jarrett tells us that Will Cullen was playing in the NYPD versus the FDNY hockey game at the UBS Arena, and took to the ice in his Giants undershirt. So it's good to see that once a Giant, always a Giant. Big shout out to Will for that. Absolute top lad. Came on the show many times, and always good job, good lad. Right, well, if that's it, boys, let's wrap this up. I look forward to seeing you both this weekend. The Belfast Giants will take on the Cardiff Devils at 3 p.m. at the Motorpoint Arena in the semi-final of the EIHL Playoffs 2025. It's going to be one hell of a game. The Belfast Giants are going in there once again, as Adam Keefe has pointed out. This will be the 4th occasion that we've went in as both league and cup champions. This will be the 4th occasion the Belfast Giants will be attempting to win a Grand Slam. This will be looking for the 2nd Grand Slam in 3 seasons. An absolutely remarkable achievement for the Belfast Giants to be put in this position. And we were on the cusp of once again being one of the great teams of this league. With that, big thanks to Ben Lake and to Adam Keefe for joining us on this week's show. Big thanks to you boys as always, and everybody. Oh, it's David McAleese's birthday. Happy birthday to David McAleese.
He means was saying happy birthday to him.
Oh, right, what? You sang on my birthday? Sorry, I thought on the comments he was saying it is his birthday. Sorry, David. Well, when it is your birthday, we will sing. Anybody's heading to Nottingham, come and say hello. Looking forward to seeing all the Belfast Giants there, all the Belfast Giants fans. Come out and enjoy us. We always enjoy it. Get yourself to Bunkers, get yourself to Saltbox, get yourself a few drinks and enjoying the weekend. A great weekend when it comes to Elite League hockey. A great weekend in hockey for everybody. So Belfast Giants in that 3 p.m. game. Big thanks to everybody who's interacted at AVFTB on Twitter and all the normal places. Gentlemen, shall see you at the weekend, yeah? Nice one. And hopefully see a lot of you there. If you are there this weekend, we do hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.